Recording in progress.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Shabbat Shalom. Shanquilla or Shanquilla Carter, One Vision Ministry. I want to speak on word is bond. Your word is supposed to be your bond. Basically, a promise is, or a pledge is basically a promise. So, Abiyah, thank you for this opportunity to come forth on the Shabbat. May this word that I bring forth um, may it enlighten some people as well as operate and work in me so that my word, though I acknowledge my word is my bond, but maybe many need to hear what I say, I mean it, and hold me to it and hold me accountable. I thank you for your will. Thank you for your purpose in your day of rest that you allow. May this go forth and give you honor, give you glory. Hallelujah. Okay. So I notice a lot of people say things lightly, not realizing that their words should be their bond. And if you say something, you should mean it. You shouldn't say things that um, just hold a person in place. When you say something, there should be an expectation that what you said will be fulfilled. When Yah speaks, everything he speaks, it brings forth life or death. And it has a completion that is connected to it. His word is not void. It does not come back void. So when he puts something in motion, he has an expectation and he knows that it's going to manifest. We being the image of Yah, we should have this same expectation. That's why we should guard our tongues and be mindful of the things that we say. We shouldn't say anything that we don't mean, and definitely should not say anything that would cause forth things that go against the will of Yah. Saying you hate somebody, that you wish them death or whatever, that's a curse. Now, if it's not merited or, it's not the will of Yah, you're going to have to deal with that. Sometimes we may say things and say, well, if you do this. When I was younger, I used to have bouts with alcohol and stuff like that, and sometimes other things. And I'm like, if you get me through this, I'll never do this again. And that's a pledge. And sometimes we've said some things that, Yah, if you get me through, I'll dedicate my life. And Yah expects us to honor our words and our pledge, our vows. If you tell someone that you're going to give them something, you should give it to them. Me and my wife, I promised her that I would be only to her. Now, this is prior to me, recognizing who I am as an Israelite and basically, you know, having a comprehension of polygyny. I wasn't really operating with the true and living Yah. So, of course, when I connected with Yah, I understood that those vows and those things did not have the same weight because they were not to Him. And so I reassessed and also repledged or, recommitted to the things that I said willingly. It wasn't like I was under duress or forced to do these things. I chose to do this, and maybe it was done in ignorance, who knows? But I made these pledges. And it was, something that I thought about. I had previous marriage and I was out there doing things or whatever. Now that I understand, that was not really adultery because a man can add wives, but I was doing it under the guise of deception. So those lies, that's not like Yah. That's not honorable. That's not letting my word be my bond. If you say you're going to do something, you should do it. If I commit to a man or tell him I'm going to help him, going to do something, I have all intents to do that. A lot of people, when they say things out of their mouth, they just say those things to appease the moment, knowing full well that they don't plan on actually fulfilling what they said. And we do this casually in a lot of stuff, like, I'll pray for you. Well, pray right then. Well, I'll call you back. Now, that one people don't really see as a major thing, but it's still you putting your word out there, saying that you're going to do something, knowing the likelihood of you being able to do it is not there. Probably would be best to say, I'm going to try to call you back, not I'm going to. I'm gonna come by. People say things like that to, again, appease the moment. But I think Yah takes serious anything that we say. Our words, life or death, they mean something. I'm gonna go to some text here in Judges and want to show you how someone said something out of their mouth and their word was their bond. All right, let's get to sharing the screen. Dealing with Shaphatim or Judges 11. Going over to share my screen and get it going. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All right. Shaphatim or Judges 11. And Yiftah. Many of us probably know him as Jephthah or whatever, but we now know that J was not a part of the Hebrew language, so that sound or so Yiftah, Yiptah. The Galadite was a mighty brave one, but he was the son of a whore. That word may offend some, but he was the son of a whore. And Gilead brought forth Yiftah, and the wife of Gilead bore sons. And when his wife's sons grew up, they drove Yiftah out and said to him, You shall not have an inheritance in the house of our father, for you are the son of another woman. And Yiftah fled from his brothers and dwelt in the land of Tob. And worthless men banded together with Yiftah and went out with him. So worthless men, these men probably knew how to fight, knew how to kill, do all that. And it came to be sometime later that the children of Ammon fought against Israel. And it came to be when the children of Ammon fought against Israel that the elders of Gilead went to bring Yiftah out of the land of Tob. And they said to Yiftah, Come, and you shall be our commander, and let us fight against the children of Ammon. Given a background, Lot, the nephew of Abraham, basically when he left out of Sodom and Gomorrah, his wife looked back, turned to a pillar of salt. Basically, he had his two daughters with him, and they both lay with him. One had Moab as a child, and the other one had Ammon. So the Ammon and Moab are Hebraic descendants or connected to Abraham through Lot, his nephew. So Ammon, and Moab have some relations to Israel. It's always your family. A lot of times it's your family that's an issue, but let me keep going. And Yiftah said to the elders of Gilead, Did you not hate me and drive me from my father's house? Why have you come to me now when you are in trouble? And the elders of Gilead said to Jephthah, that is the reason we have turned to you, that you shall go with us and fight against the children of Ammon and be our head over all the inhabitants of Gilead. See, he had, again, them dudes that knew how to kill and fight with him. So they like, hey, we need some help. We need the people that you got connection to, we need them. And Jephthah said to the elders of Gilead, if you take me back home to fight against the children of Ammon, and Yahuwah gives them to me, am I to be your head? And the elders of Gilead said to Jephthah, Yahuwah is witness between us. See, they gave their word. They made a pledge, a promise. If we do not do according to your words, so Yah is a witness between them. If you do not do according to their words. So they're saying, our words are bonded. We're making a promise. We're making a pledge. Then Jephthah went with the elders of Gilead, and the people set him over them as head and commander. And Jephthah spoke all his words before Yahuwah in Mishpah. And Jephthah sent messengers to the sovereign of the children of Ammon, saying, what is between you and me, that you have come to fight against me in my land? And the sovereign of the children of Ammon said to the messengers of Jephthah, because Israel took my land when they came up out of Mizraim from the Arnon, as far as the Yabuk and the Yarden, and now give back those lands in peace. Shalom. But Jephthah again sent messengers to the sovereign of the children of Ammon, and said to him, this is what Jephthah said. Israel did not take the land of Moab. Again, I mentioned Moab, son of who? Lot or Lot. We call him Lot, but it's really Lot. Nor the land of the children of Ammon. And so Moab, Ammon, they're basically the children of Lot by his two daughters, incest babies. For when they came up from Mizraim, and Israel walked through the wilderness as far as the Sea of Reeds, and came to Kadesh. Many have said the Red Sea, but it was the Sea of Reeds. Then Israel sent messengers to the sovereign of Edom. Again, Edom. Israel is Yaakov, and Edom is his twin brother. Again, family. Saying, please, let me pass over through your land. But the sovereign of Edom would not listen. Your family can be your stumbling block a lot of times. You see, these three family members, their people, would not allow Israel to go through their land. Didn't trust them, didn't want them there. So they didn't help Israel at all. But Yah has had Israel's back and covered them. Let me keep going. And they also sent to the sovereign of Moab, but he refused. So Israel stayed at Kadesh. Then they went through the wilderness and around the land of Edom and the land of Moab, and came to the east side of the land of Moab and encamped beyond Arnon. But they did not enter the border of Moab, for Arnon was the border of Moab. So they had respect for their relative and did not trample on, and the fact that they had their access denied, they didn't go in there. And Israel sent messengers to Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, sovereign of Heshbon, and Israel said to him, please let us pass over through your land into our place. Now these people were not relatives or connected. through Abraham. But Sihon did not trust Israel to pass over through his border, and Sihon gathered all his people together, and they encamped in Yahatz and fought against Israel. And Yahuwah Elohim of Israel gave Sihon and all his people into the hand of Israel, and they struck them. So Israel took possession of all the land of the Amorites, the inhabitants of that land. So they didn't take any of the land of Moab, any of the land of Ammon or Edom, but these were a whole nother people. Thus they took possession of all the border of the Amorites from Arnon to the Yabok, and from the wilderness to the Yarden. And now Yahuwah Elohim of Israel has driven out the Amorites from before his people Israel. Should you then possess it? So this land that these people are claiming was lands of another people that Yah gave over in victory to Israel. All right. Whatever Kamosh, your mighty one, gives you. So Kamosh is their mighty one. That's the deity that these people serve. Your mighty one gives you to possess. Do you not possess it? And all that which Yahuwah, our Elohim, takes possession of before us, we possess. So it's like, look, your deity gave you what you have, and our deity gave us what we have. And now, are you any better than Balak? Remember Balak and Balaam dealing with Moab's story. Balak, son of Zippor, sovereign of Moab. Yep. So Balak was the son of Zippor. So Balak and Balaam was the wicked prophet that was able to tap into Yahuwah, and basically he spoke nothing but favor over Israel. But Balak, the son of Zippor, sovereign of Moab, did he ever strive against Israel? Did he ever fight against them? He just, tried to have them cursed, but he never fought against them. While Israel dwelt in Heshbon and its villages, and in Aroer and its villages, and in the cities along the banks of Arnon for 300 years, why did you not recover them within that time? So basically, you didn't go against the king of Moab. If this was your land, you ain't, take it from them. So I have not sinned against you, but you are doing me evil by fighting against me. Let Yahuwah, the judge today between the children of Israel and the children of Ammon. But the sovereign of the children of Ammon did not listen to the words which Yiftah sent him. And the Ruach, the spirit of Yahuwah, came upon Yiftah, and he passed through Gilead and Manasseh, and passed through Mizpah and Mizpah of Galad. And from Mizpah of Galad, he passed on towards the children of Ammon. And Yiftah made a vow. He made a promise. He made a pledge to Yahuwah. Listen to this. And said, if you give the children of Ammon into my hands, then it shall be that whatever comes out of the doors of my house, his dwelling place, to meet me. So this would be something that's alive. When I return in peace from the children of Ammon, shall belong to Yahuwah, and I shall offer it as an ascending offering, sacrifice, an ascending offering. Yiftah then passed on towards the children of Ammon to fight against them, and Yahuwah gave them into his hand. So he made a pledge, he made a promise, he vowed whatever living that came to meet him when he came back to his house, to his home, to his dwelling place, he would give as an ascending offering to Yahuwah. That was his word. That was his word. Was it his bond? Let's keep going. And he struck them from Aurora as far as Minnith, 20 cities, and to Abel Keramim, with a very great slaughter. Thus the children of Ammon were humbled before the children of Israel. And Jephthah came to his house at Mizpah and saw his daughter. Remember, it would be the first thing he seen coming to him as he went. He saw his daughter coming out to meet him with timbrels and dancing. Now, except for her, he had neither son nor daughter. So she was his only child, his firstborn and only child. And it came to be when he saw her that he tore his garment because he remembered his pledge. He remembered his vow. He remembered his word that was his bond and said, "Oh, my daughter, you have brought me very low, and you are among those who trouble me." She was just happy to see her dad. As many of us, when we come home from work, if our children are there, we love to be greeted by our children. But this day, this grieved him because he knew his word, he knew his promise, what he would have to give up because he's a man of his word. Are you a man of your word? Do you speak and say things and expect to honor them? This man knew that he was going to honor his word, so it troubled him. It grieved him to see his daughter because he remembered what his word was. The first living thing that came to greet him, to meet him, he would give over as an ascending offering to Yahuwah. And I have given my word. He gave his word, which is his bond, to Yahuwah, and I am unable to turn back. He's not going to break his word. He's going to honor his word. He's not going to turn back on his word. And she said to him, "My father, if you have given your word to Yahuwah." See, this woman, this daughter, loved her father, but she also loved Yah. "If you have given your word to Yahuwah, do to me according to what has gone out of your mouth, because Yahuwah has taken vengeance for you upon your enemies, the children of Ammon." She didn't fight against his word, her father's word. She didn't fight against it. The promise of Yahuwah. Let me stop this for a second. If we claim to be Yahuwah's children, we shouldn't fight against his promises, his word. We should do everything in our being to assist in his will being done, even if it means us giving up our lives. This daughter was aware that her father's promise meant giving her up. Our father's promise means we have to give up a lot of things in this lifetime. Are we willing to give up this lifetime, the pleasures of this world, so that our father's word and his bond may be fulfilled? Just something to think on, meditate on. You don't have to answer. It'd be nice if you did in the comments or whatever on this video, but just a question for you. Where are you at when it comes to the Father's word? Where are you at when it comes to your word? All right, let me return back to reading. And she said to him, "My father, if you have given your word to Yahuwah, Do to me according to what has gone out of your mouth, because Yahuwah has taken vengeance for you upon your enemies, the children of Ammon. And she said to her father, Let this be done for me. Let me alone for 2 new moons, or 2 months, and let me go and wander on the mountains and bewail my maidenhood, my friends and I. So she hadn't been married. She hadn't been uh, set to be a bride. This was what we would modernly call a virgin daughter. So that means this man did not have any descendants coming from this daughter, or his only child. And he was finna give her up, and she was willing to be given up because of her father's word. He made his word to Yah, and his daughter was honoring his vow. Then he said, Go, and he sent her away for 2 new moons. For 2 months she was away. And she went with her friends and bewailed her maidenhood on the mountains. So she grieved. This was not an easy thing. It kind of puts me in the mind of Yahusha in the garden. He had came to be a sacrifice, just like this daughter is a sacrifice, doing the will of the Father. And he said, Not my will, but your will be done, because he begrudged that calling for a minute, in the garden, sweating, out blood. But he, said, Not my will, your will be done. And this is what this daughter is doing. Not my will, but your will be done. I know a lot of people want to make Yahusha and Yahuwah be the same, but how could someone knowing the plan be grieved by the plan of his father? If it was all his plan, why would he be grieved by it? See, this daughter, this was not her plan, but of course she wanted to honor her father, just like Yahusha. It was not his plan. He just wanted to honor his father. He went along with the plan. But let me continue, because, this story is about this, and I don't want to, I don't know, superimpose that other. But anyway, and it came to be at the end of the 2 moons, the 2 months, that she returned to her father, and he did to her as he had vowed. Many will say that he didn't do it, you know, but he vowed it. And it says he did to her as he had vowed. And she knew no man, and it became a statute in Israel that the daughters of Israel went every year for 4 days to lament the daughter of Yiftah, the Galadite. This is not something that we do now. Maybe because we lost this in our culture. But back then, when it was fresh, they did. You see that daughter honoring the word of the father, her father, and you see that father honor his word to the Father Yah. Will you honor your word to the Father Yah? And will you honor Yah's word, who is your father? These are questions. I plan on doing such. This is something that I've been trying to do. A lot of times in me doing so, it offends people. Hey, I'm in my lane. A lot of times I'm asking questions to make people think. Not think like me, but to actually think. A lot of us are on autopilot, just doing and living day to day like we're in Groundhog Day, because every day basically seems like the same day. You're just changing your clothes, but you're doing the same thing every day. every day. When someone asks you a question about the biblical narrative, you have canned answers. You respond the same way. You don't even think about it, not realizing that a lot of times that the questions that are being asked are for a reason. A lot of things that we regurgitate is because someone taught us and not because we studied, not because we've allowed the Ruach to tell us. You know, I have a guy that I deal with, and everything he ever says deals with the Trinity. And when I asked him certain questions and stuff like that, he gets stumped on the questions, but he automatically resets back to the Trinity. And you believe what you believe, and I believe, and I'm like, I'm not opposed to you believing what you believe, but I asked you a question, and I just, from the Bible, I just want you to answer it. But rather than to answer the question, he goes back to his same response, over and over, and it's like, my question should not be a problem for you to answer with the Bible, you know, but of course, we're being indoctrinated. I mentioned earlier about the garden. Yahusha was pleading with who? With himself? He was praying. He's left away from his disciples to pray to who? Was he double-minded? He talking to himself? What? Schizophrenic? What's going on? Who was he talking to? And why would he be pleading like that to the point of blood with himself? Even on the Staros, he told y'all not to, he said, forgive them for they know not what they do. Who he didn't say I'm going to forgive them. He said forgive. He's talking to someone else. There's a narrative, where the sons of thunder are asking him for a seat next to him in the kingdom, and he says, "Not for me to give." So, who is it for to give if it's not for him? There's a many of things that he acknowledges that he's not able, or he has a shortcoming in, and it's pointing towards the Father. And he said, well, oh, well, on earth, you're saying that the Most High has limitations it's a given time that he has limitations. That's what you're saying. You're saying that the Most High can die and reclaim his life. So if he's died, how did everything not stop? If everything requires the Most High? I'm like, these are questions that people need to ask. I know, but I'm going off topic. I'm gonna get back. Let your word be your bond. If you say something, you should mean it. Sometimes maybe we need to be slower to speak. I'm speaking to myself on that. Because if you're going to put something out there and not honor it, Yah sees that. Abba, Yah, I thank you for this Shabbat. I thank you for this opportunity to speak with your people. May your word be magnified. May your will be done in me as well as those around me. May I know my lane. I'm speaking maybe to a small section of people, and that's okay. That's your will for me, and I'm okay with that. Those that have a bigger audience, then let them, so be it. Let them have that. But it's all about your will being done. May every fragment, maybe they're dealing with the bigger portion of the rock, but I'm dealing with the crumbles off the rock. Maybe all portions of that rock be dealt with, be the whole rock or the crumbles. Let your will be done. Those that are meant to minister to 1,000, those meant to minister to 100, those meant to minister to 50, 10, and even the 1. Let your will be done. Let us be about your word. Let us have a bond with you and a bond with your word so that we want it to be fulfilled, knowing that your word does not come back void. We should operate like that so that our word also does not come back void, but it does what we say. We thank you, Yah. Shabbat Shalom. Hallelujah. Shabbat Shalom. Shankul Yah, One Vision Ministry. Shankula Carter. Hallelujah.